avid readers, book nerds, or casual observers. Welcome to the read-along brought to you by the Lit Roundtable. I'm Anna.
And I'm Joseph, and this is our read-along of The Republic of Thieves by Scott Lynch. Okay, hello, welcome to week 5.
Chapter 6.
Plus interlude.
And intersect.
Oh, right, yeah.
There's an extra little bit in there.
An extra couple paragraphs thrown in there.
A short.
Yeah.
But fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's not impressed with our boys. How very dare they?
I mean, I can't blame them right now.
No, for sure. They got had. Like a couple of Dumbos.
Spectacularly.
Yeah. Like, oh, gosh. They were worried about Sabetha. And I've noticed that when I listen back to our episodes, I say it both ways every episode, and I never land on a way. So I apologize.
I try to say it the way the audiobook is, which I'm pretty sure is Sabetha. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I'll accidentally switch too.
Sorry, guys. So. Yeah, they were worried about Sabetha, and they had every right to be. Because she is
a terror.
Up there.
Diabolical.
Yeah. So we finally meet her.
But we meet her first in an unexpected way.
Yes. I adore her.
Mm-hmm.
I totally get
she's
why
cool.
Locke is smitten, but she's pretty amazing.
She's pretty cool.
Yeah, she shows up first as an old lady or middle-aged lady.
And tries to plant her purse on Locke and then frame him for pickpocketing her. Mm-hmm. And then they Uno reverse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And Locke pretends to have a fit. Like a seizure of some kind.
Which is hilarious, because that's what he did earlier in the book when he got caught by the Yellow Jacket in Camorra, and he just pretended to throw up and be sick. It's like, well, yeah. Same old tricks.
Yes, which she calls him out for later. She's like, I know you, and also I know all your hand signals, so I knew exactly what you were doing.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, you would. We didn't know it was you right away.
Right.
They didn't pick up that it was her. Mm-hmm. But,
not until she planted something. Mm-hmm. It was like she planted her purse on them. Then they planted it back on her. But while they were doing that, she planted something else on them. So it was just like this.
Yeah.
Chess game.
Yes.
It's like 4D chess.
Indeed. And Nikaros is watching this whole thing, and he legitimately thought that playing Zelda, that Locke, was having a legitimate issue. He's like, I thought that that you were actually sick.
Right.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Speaking of Nikaros, they have told him no more whatever his drug of choice is. No more of that business.
Yeah.
And they tell him to go get drunk like a normal person.
Yep.
And his office is being fumigated because there's supposedly rats in it. So.
Which was another Sabetha thing.
Yes.
Also, I would like to point out that I totally called it when I was like, he's probably going to be like, I can quit whenever I want.
Oh, yeah.
He totally did.
He was like, it's not a problem. It better not be. I swear almost it's not. We'll see. We'll see if it's not a problem. Yeah. Although, now his tenants are have been swept away, so who knows?
Yeah.
I did really like this quote from Locke. So when in the very first part of this chapter, when they're trying to wiggle their way out of not having a liquor license or whatever it is that Justin's doesn't have, the accusers walk away and Nikaros is like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. You really are an expert. How did you become an expert in our law so quickly? And Locke is like, I am not. Yeah. He says, when the sky is falling, I take shelter under bullshit. Which I just thought was very funny and very accurate for our characters.
He's a professional.
But he's a professional.
Right. That was a quote.
It was a quote.
Those are his words.
Yes.
It's a funny quote.
It's very funny. Yeah.
But yeah, so he's great at he thinks on his feet very well.
Mm-hmm.
Our boy Locke Lamora.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always entertaining reading him wriggle his way out of a situation verbally. Never gets old. It's always fun.
He is not able to wriggle himself out of anything with Sabetha though.
No, no, she sees right through
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
Which they orchestrate a meeting, and I thought it was really funny how Locke was like, "I'm not going to get any sleep tonight." He's
Right.
so stressed out. He's so anxious about meeting her again. It's been like 5 years or something.
Mm-hmm.
They said, he's like so stressed out about it, and
Yeah. Can't
it's
decide
just
what to
funny.
wear. And
Yeah.
Sean is like, these are brand new clothes. Why are you worried about this?
Uh huh. Uh huh.
He's like, because I am. I can't stop it. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's entertaining. Um, they finally meet face to face again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's awkward at first. It's very
No. Locke is awkward.
right. It's awkward for him.
Yes. Sabetha is fine. Jean's actually pretty okay.
She's either fine or really good at pretending to be fine.
Right. Right. Which I would not be surprised by if she's just really good at pretending to be fine.
Um, they basically reiterate like we can't turn on the Magi and work together. We have to like actually go at it. And she asks Jean to leave the room, and then him and Sabetha actually get a moment alone together,
Mm-hmm.
and they get to like have that reunion, just the two of them. And basically he gets to give her the whole lowdown on everything that happened in the last two books.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Which was kind of nice to have the reminder of some of what happened in book one.
mm-hmm.
And they both like come to the realization that their last jobs did not go particularly well for either of them.
Right. Yeah.
And there's been like this underlying issue between them about all the money that Father Chains left behind, which we didn't really know before.
Mm-hmm.
But Sabetha comes out and says that I wish he'd never left us the money. I wish he'd never left us anything because that ruined everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then Locke gets to tell her that he sent it all down to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
For Callo and Galdo. And
Mm-hmm.
she's relieved that is finally not going to be a factor. Which I'm so curious about, like, what the dispute was with that. Except, I guess she kind of tells us. She says that roots are for vegetables, not criminals. Like, I think that she didn't want to be complacent about where they were. And maybe that's what Locke was hoping for.
Yeah, it seemed like he wanted to keep everything the same. Like he wanted everything to stay the same the way it was when Father Change was there, and she wanted to change some things. And he probably saw the money as like a fallback or something that was gonna like, well, she saw it as something that was gonna weigh them down and anchor them in Camor. Which yeah, how do you move all that money? That
Right.
in that day and age, they don't have digital currency. Yeah, they're
Right.
stuck there. If
Right.
they want to use that money, they're stuck in Camor. So I'm sure that was a big part of it. But now the money is no more. She also kind of, I don't know if ridicule is the right word, but she points out that like he even took on another apprentice, just like Father Chains, like with Bug. So she was like, "No, I couldn't stay, and I couldn't stay, and I told you why I couldn't stay."
Yeah, she also talked about how she didn't like that they were perpetuating that cycle of taking in another young boy, another young person, and like grooming them to be like this.
Yeah.
So I think that she has a lot of, just me guessing based on this conversation, that she has a lot of resentment towards like the life that she had to live, that she was forced to live because of
Yeah.
who picked her up.
I could see that happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Which,
But-
and then Bug ends up dead. So she's kind of vindicated in that, right?
Yeah,
So,
for sure. And all of this basically confirms for her that, yeah, you guys are too dangerous for me to just like let you do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
Once she tells her the whole story about what happened with Talvarar,
Mm-hmm.
right? The Sinspire, um, all of that, the Archon, the Grey King, all of this. She's like, yeah, you guys are too good. Um, and after like a brief makeout session, it's revealed that she had poisoned, well, like her neck.
Yeah. She
Yeah.
yeah. She apparently likes being kissed on the neck, and so she specifically asked Locke to do that.
Yeah.
Which she happily did, and she
Hmm.
poisoned him with her perfume.
Knocked him out.
Classic.
And she said she didn't know whether or not she was going to do that until she heard the whole
Mm-hmm.
story about what they had been up to. And then it's just like, yeah, you're too dangerous to leave on the board. Taking you off the board.
Well, and
Um,
she specifically said before the makeout session began, she was like, I want you to know that I am so glad you're alive, no matter what happens next. I'm so glad that you're okay.
yeah.
And like basically confirming for him that there are still feelings there. And then she
Hmm.
poisoned him.
And it's interesting because she seems convinced that the best case scenario for them is that she wins.
Yes.
Um,
For both,
like,
so that everyone wins if she wins.
right. So she is doing this because she legitimately thinks it's for Locke and Jean's best interest
Mm-hmm.
if she wins. So we don't exactly know what happens when she wins,
Right.
and why that's so much better. Um, we don't know what the Black Iris people are planning to do, or what the Magi that are like funding the Black Iris people are
Mm-hmm.
planning to do if they win. But she seems convinced that this is the best option. So
Yeah.
they could put on a boat and they're sailing away
And they won't be back to port until after the
after the
election is over.
election.
Yeah.
Yeah. But joke's on her, our boys know how to sail. So,
Do they?
I mean, they got a crash course. They got a TED
We'll
Talk.
see. She also heard that they were not particularly good at being sailors. So I don't know that
Yeah.
she's actually worried about it. But
So I'm interested to see how they get out of that. But I'm sure they will.
oh,
And,
we did the thing where we didn't say the name of the chapter again. Sorry.
oh, what was the name of the chapter?
The 5-year game, change of venue
Mm-hmm. On a boat.
on a boat.
And
Sorry.
during the intersect, it's like this. It's like reading someone's emails
Mm-hmm.
or someone's text conversation. They're like, "We're not really very impressed uh, with your counterparts yet," and they're like, "Oh, they'll be back soon enough, and they'll have a chance to one up your person.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about it." And it's just, oh well, we'll see. It's like
Yeah.
they're in competition, but they're still like talking to each other.
Yeah.
Um,
And the intersect is called Tinder.
hmm
Swiping left and swiping right. No.
Yes, that's what Scott Lynch meant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Clearly.
But yeah, that's where we left off. They're on a boat sailing
On a
away.
boat. And then our interlude is called the Moncrane Company,
Yes.
which this whole thing is basically about trying to get Moncrane out of jail.
Yeah, they're able to meet with him.
Mm-hmm.
They have to kind of convince him to let them break him out because he's just like cynical and grumpy and just wants to rot.
Yeah.
They end up finding out who he punched. They go meet with who he punched. It's like a whole thing. They're just trying to get this poor dude out so they can do their job.
Yeah.
But the most interesting part of the interlude for me was when they were meeting with the guy who got punched. I forget his name. It starts with a B.
I don't recall.
And kind of the lead up to that when Locke and Sabetha or Sabetha, gosh, Locke and Sabetha are trying to plan their backstories and they're like totally in sync, and Locke is like, ooh, she's finishing my sentences just like Jean does.
Yes.
It's cute.
It is
It's
cute.
very it's fun.
I think it's funny. They're pretending to be cousins, which I'm like, is this going to be the trip where they end up making out for the first time? And people are going to think they're cousins. And it's going to be weird for everybody.
Apparently not that weird because the dude asked Locke if they were betrothed. So
That's true. He did.
because he was interested, to Locke's dismay and frustration.
Yeah.
That was very entertaining. And then he had to say, "No, we're not." And she's single.
But back off.
But it's good for the plan if you think she's single. Grr.
Yeah. Poor Locke.
But it's going to be really, really funny because he was basically like, okay, look, I want you to be my guy. I want you to help me win her over and help her see what a good guy I am. If you do, I'll let Montcrane out. I'll buy out his theater company and we'll make it a whole thing. So Locke is going to have to give this guy advice on how to woo Sabetha. And I think it's going to make for an interesting dynamic because maybe Locke will learn the actual way,
Yeah.
in giving him these other ways. So
I don't know. It just sounds like a recipe for disaster to me because,
I'm also like, you better tell Sabetha what's happening.
yeah.
Because if you don't, it's just, ugh. Tell her so she can be in on it. And then she can like totally play along and like play with him and make him feel like he's wooing her. And then it's good for the plan. But I feel like since Locke is so jealous and doesn't want them to be a couple, he's not going to tell her and he's going to like try to sabotage the dude being able to woo her, and it's going to piss him off and
Yeah.
the plan will go awry. We'll see which direction it goes.
Oh, the plan will most assuredly go awry.
Well, yeah, that goes pretty much without saying, but
It's
just in
already
what
gone
way?
awry with Montcrane being in jail.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
These silly boys. Oh, we didn't mention that Jean got beat up in the main chapter.
Right. Locke got poisoned or knocked out. Jean got literally knocked out.
Yeah. She
Took
made
a
a
whole-
joke about there being 20 armed men in the next room, and turns out she was not joking.
Yeah. And that's how many it took. That's how many she sent after Jean. So, he is formidable.
MVP.
So these are very entertaining chapters.
They are. They feel very similar to book one in a lot of ways, which I appreciate.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sad that we're like already over
Halfway
halfway
done.
done with the book. Like I want to only be like a third of the way done.
Yeah, it's going fast.
Yeah. It is. It
But
really
you know
is.
what? It took us this long to finally get to Sabetha, so
Yeah. Yep.
but now
I'm just
she's
gonna
in
be
it.
sad when this book is over and that's everything that's out now. I have
Yeah.
to wait for the new stuff.
Yep. And who knows
Sad.
when that'll actually be released. So
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
sigh.
I wouldn't mind seeing an adaptation of these books though.
Ooh. Agreed.
Maybe like an HBO one since they did so good with The Last of Us. I would support it.
Yeah. For sure.
But anyway, yeah. So for the next time, is it just one chapter or
Yep.
2 chapters?
Chapter 7.
And read until we get to 8.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So if there's an intersect or an interlude, read those two.
All the things in between.
Yep. Yep.
Cool. Very good. Well, I can't wait to see how our boys get off the boat and back,
I know. How are they going to do it?
yeah, into the
It's a
election.
mystery. Have you read ahead?
I have not.
Ha.
No.
Good.
Have you?
No.
You made that sound like you had. You're like, huh, I had.
No,
I
it's
have
just
this
because
time.
you read ahead last time, so I'm glad that you have
No.
not this time.
No. I have not.
Ooh. The 5-year game counter move. Instead of chapter 7.
You know, it's about time that our boys went on the offensive and actually got something done. So, hopefully, they're able to do something cool. Yeah, for sure. Well, I guess until next time, Happy reading.
And we'll talk at you next time.
Later.